it is to be here. This presentation, I really want this to be more of a dialogue than a presentation because I find that it's more effective when the audience and myself actually work together on, kind of targeting and figuring out exactly what ASU Prep Digital is capable of providing to the students around the world and the learners, targeting their experiences and their needs. So please, raise your hand if you have a question, write your questions in the chat box, and write your questions down or email me or whatever. I also have my colleague here with me, Angelina. She's actually located in China. She's one of our international student specialists, and she's here to answer some of your questions, to kind of guide you through some of the experiences if you have specific questions for her. So that's, so we can start there. Throughout the years, I think, especially this year, we have really noticed the increasing demand from students to advance their studies. Maybe because, a lot of studies are done outside of classrooms, maybe because there's a newfound structure that is more structuring with, kind of you can actually self-structure your study. So, a lot of students are willing to advance their studies through, kind of taking college courses. And also because, the I think the challenge of standardized testing these days, and also not knowing exactly what needs to happen in order to get into these colleges, right? Whether it is in the United States or elsewhere. So this presentation is more geared toward students who are looking for this advancement, but maybe looking for another option for this advancement. So hopefully we can provide some information for you and services for you to achieve whatever you need to academically in order to get to the next level. This is really about working within the university. So I know that many of you guys are part of IB program, are part of, A level, you're part of US curriculum, possibly, maybe you're taking some AP courses. All of that is great because that is what is going to prepare you academically for universities, right? But what we're talking about today is, yes, it is about preparation, right? Because I just, the previous slide was talking about prep for life, prep for career, prep for college. But this is all about now. Like, I think preparation is always good, but what can you do now, right? All of the previously mentioned curriculum will give you the opportunity to prepare yourself for college. But what we're presenting today is you can actually start college now. Okay, so that's a little bit different of a concept, I think. So I hope that this presentation will give you a little bit idea of how do I do that? And why would that be beneficial, right? So what we're showing you here is bench rankings. I'm sure you see plenty of this from other colleges, right? But what we're doing here is that, ASU Prep Digital is actually part of Arizona State University. This does not mean that you have to come to Arizona State University after taking ASU courses. Mean that connecting with ASU Prep Digital lock you down with Arizona State University. It doesn't mean any of that. What it does mean is that for you as a learner, you actually have access. Access is a key word here. You will have access to resources that only university students will have. And this means access to academic units, access to academic courseware, and access to faculty members, to research projects, to other university level students. So this actually links you to the whole world of university. Again, this will prepare you better because you are linked directly to a university level course, because you're prepared, you're directly linked to a university level experience. Because, we all know, I mean, maybe that's a overstatement. We know, the folks in this room who have gone through a university, who have lived through that life, knows that, having the university experience, because there's so much out there, beyond the courseware. There's so much out there that's beyond academics, right? So having that experience is extremely important for students to actually be 100% prepared for university lives, right? So that's what we're presenting today. And ASU is different. We're a different university by trade. The difference is in our DNA. We were just voted #1 in innovation by the US News and World Report for the 6th time in a row. So that's 6 years nonstop, consecutively, right? Why are we different? We're a public research university, and that means that we're tier 1 research university. What that really means is that, you will hear this a lot when you're looking at some universities in the United States, right? What does it mean that you're a public university, first of all? That means that most of the funding actually from public sources, right? And what do you mean that you're a research university? That means that most of the focus of this university is on research and advancement. Okay, so this is very important for you to know when you are looking at universities, whether you're looking for a research orientated university or not, right? Some other research orientated universities are Berkeley, UCLA, your Duke is a very research orientated university. Many of these research universities, what you will find is that there's a medical school attached to that. ASU doesn't have a medical school, but we're also a research university. I think we're the only top 10 research university tier 1 without a medical school. And that's because of our work clinic, our work with Honor Health. So as you can see that, we are different because we are providing access to college for high school students. We're providing access to career, to high school and college students. So this is all about access and preparing you, but also giving the opportunity now to actually practice on what you're trying to prepare for. This is about inclusivity, and this is huge. This means that this access does not only belong to students in Arizona, it doesn't only belong to students who have achieved a certain score in a test. This belongs to every student. So if you think that you're ready to advance, then we will open the door for you so that you can actually learn and see if this is right for you, right? Because a lot of times we're in life, I think we're just looking for what's right and what is that fit for you, right? So I think this opportunity might really help you to feel a sense of belonging to a community of learners who are also just like you, looking for what to develop in the future, right? And looking for to achieve their dreams. We are innovative, and the innovation is in our DNA. As I said, we integrate everything into the student community with our innovative thinking. What that means is that, through ASU Prep Digital, you're able to take college courses. And I'm not talking about, here is 2 introductory courses. I'm actually talking about the entire undergraduate catalog, right? So if you want to be a physicist and you want to take something that's more advanced in physics, you are able to do that. This is not AP. So like, that's the huge difference. And I think I have actually a slide to talk about that. So that's why this is not AP, right? If you are capable of taking more advanced classes while you're in high school and you are willing to actually explore and really put yourself out there to take some college courses, this is for you. we combine high school and college and experiences, and I can talk to you a little bit more about that because, college experience is very different. Oftentimes, we find that high school students are not really struggling academically with high school courses, with college courses when they do transition, right? What they're really struggling with is actually the environment, right? To be self-disciplined, to actually go to classes on your own, to actually make schedules on your own, to manage time on your own, to manage whether you want to do the work, like making adult choices, right? And those are the harder parts for students. And when you develop a learning habit that will actually be suitable for college students, when you're in high school, this transition will be a lot easier for you. And we're actually here to help you with the transition. So this is not about, here is a class. It's online, you just go take it, and this is it, right? This is actually about building an ecosystem of support around you, around the learner, not just to retain you as a student, but to make sure that you're successful. And that's a huge part of what we do, right? So we actually work with parents, we work with teachers at your school, we work with, faculty member at ASU. But on top of that, we actually assign you a learning who will actually guide you through the entire experience. And that is huge, right? Because you will have someone next to you, and you don't get that a lot when you're going through transitions in life, right? You will actually get a guide next to you holding your hands and really walk through the door with you. So this is really, really important for us to support you through this experience. And we actually very accelerate tracks. As I mentioned before, I have students, right? So right now we're servicing about 20,000 students here in the United States, and we're servicing about 400 students worldwide. And I actually have students who are taking these advanced classes. I have a student in Vietnam who is, really just, he wants to be a scientist. He wants to take physics. He's been taking physics at school, but he doesn't feel like that's enough for him. So he came to me and he said, Angela, can I take physics class? This is the physics class I want to take from Arizona State University. I want to get college credits. And I said, of course, it's going to be hard, but if you have the time and if you have the commitment and if you're willing to try, let's do it. So he actually took the math placement test and placed right into that physics class. And now he's part of Arizona State University learners, right? And he's taking that class. And what that means for him is that he will have this physics class in his pocket, right? And he will have the official transcript from Arizona State University after he is done with this physics class. So when he is applying to a school in America, he can actually show them that he has the caliber, he has the altitude and affinity to actually take a college course while he's in high school. And he actually achieved college credits, so he doesn't have to take that class ever again, but he can just advance, right? And think about that for a second. I don't know if I can say the same thing 5 years ago. I actually don't know if I can say the same thing 2 years ago to students who wants to look for the opportunity to advance to a college level course, right? But now we have the opportunity. So I really like you guys to take this chance on yourself to explore and to take some college level courses. What is nice about this is that, you know, this slide is really to compare college courses with AP, but, and you can read through this. But what I really want to talk about is that, we actually built out something that's called concurrent credits. What that means is very similar to what you're experiencing in AP as far as structure, right? This means that you're taking a college level course. This means that you're actually getting, you know, a higher GPA, right? Meaning that you get more points assigned to college courses because they're likely to have 5 points versus a 4-point scale. Um, but what this also means is that you're actually getting college credits, right? So what is concurrent? Concurrent means that we have actually looked through high school, US high school courses, and we have identified some classes that are similar to freshman year college courses, meaning maybe world history, right? It doesn't really change much from high school to college. So why wouldn't the high school students just take these college courses and earn college credits and spend less money and spend less time in college while they're in high school, at the same time earning the high school credits, right? That they need to graduate. So that's what we built out. This is not about taking a standardized testing, right? Because right now, the world that we have today, standardized testing will fade out, right? I mean, it's not happening, but at certain points, schools will realize that they have a different way of evaluating students, and the standardized testing will fade out in the background. I'm not saying that schools will not need it, to evaluate your overall portfolio, but it's not going to be weighted as much as before, right? Because they have to understand that many students don't have access to these tests online. So what does this mean? This means that, if you have two students, one have taken standardized testing, one have taken college courses with college transcripts, it's more than likely that they are able to transcribe and transfer these credits, college credits, to the college that you're going to versus trying to transfer standardized testing credits. Okay, so we can think about that for a moment because more and more students are actually having access to college courses. So more and more students, especially in the US and also around the world, right, will have access and opportunity to take the college courses, and they will take the college courses. So when your application is sitting there alongside of other students who have already taken college courses, I mean, if you're a college admissions person, I think there are more to consider, right? So, again, utilizing concurrent credits as a choice will be a very smart thing to do. How does it work, right? This is what we call the pathway experience. It's not a direct pathway to universities, but it's a pathway experience, right? So how does it work? If you look at this graph, this actually maps out based on a US high school standard curriculum. It actually maps out a student who is in ninth grade, which is the first year of high school, and mapping his, pathway to college, right? And I just want to mention here that, all of you guys can have different pathways. Going to college might not be the only pathway, but all of you guys will have the choice to pick different pathways, right? So while you're picking the pathways, think about what you can do now. Don't think about, oh, that's something that I can do when I get there. Think about what you can do now because that's how you can be competitive. Because many other students are already doing that now, right? So if you look at the gold boxes, those are high school courses, right? But if you look at the maroon boxes, those are what we call the concurrent courses. And this student is actually mapped, I believe, to an engineering degree. And during the 4 years of high school, this student have already taken, I'm trying to count here, have already taken up to a full year of college credits. So think about that for a second. If this student is a real person sitting next to you, or maybe, not next to you, but in your neighbor's house, right? Once the student is ready to transfer to college or transition to college, he can start as a sophomore. That is pretty amazing because this whole map cuts an entire year of college courses out, right? So what that means is that, obviously all of you guys have very rigorous contents and curriculum that you have now. So very unlikely that you will be able to do this full time, but think about that concept of being able to actually receiving college credits while you're in high school and really being able to do whatever you need to do to actually stay on that core path when you get to college, so that it does save a lot of time and money while you're in college. And your experience will be completely different, right? You, unlike other students who are starting from zero, will be able to do and be involved in college more, and possibly get involved in more research projects while you're undergrad, right? And that is going to be essential for career development and for job hunting and for all that stuff. So this is all about how to make yourself more competitive, right? And how to find other ways that might be good for you, right? There might be things that are fantastic for some students who are taking AP, who are taking IB, DP, and you know, it's just fantastic for them, right? They're just right in their environment, and this is all they wanted to do, and it's just great, and they thrive in that environment. Well, what do you think it's good for you? What do you think it's the best fit for you? This is what we're trying to do here, right? With the digital technology today, we're able to do a lot more than what we have done before. So all of your classes are not going to be you and the computer. There's a lot of interaction, a lot of engagement, a lot of class time, like actually group work, so that you are actually part of this learners community, right? So is that an environment that you will thrive in, right? So this is what's important here, is to really finding that option and finding a way that works best for you. And you have the opportunity and access for that, to do that, right? Which is great. So, flagship sort of a class, we actually built a lot of our classes and virtual labs and a lot of the technology along with partners and along with other schools. So I just wanted to show you this one class that's actually built in, that we built out with one of our partners, that's called Smart Sparrow. The CEO of Smart Sparrow used to work for ASU Prep, Arizona State University, and he was able to form a fantastic partnership to allow students to learn in such a different way utilizing technology. So, again, this is one of our flagship experiences, right? And this is really about you and about how we can work together to give you the best experience possible, right? So I wanted to highlight some of our college courses, and I know that that's probably something that you guys are mostly interested in. Again, we can't have an exhausted list here because we offer over 400 classes to students at the undergraduate level. ASU is one of those places that we are known for our interdisciplinary um, teaching and our interdisciplinary structure. And for undergraduate, we have over 300 degree programs for undergraduates. So if that's one of the things that ASU Prep Digital is able to help you with, and your learning success coach is able to help you with, is when you are connected to a admissions advisor here at Prep Digital, we actually go through what's your major, right? What are some of your interest areas? And then kind of narrow down a course list for you, whether you are trying to advance your English skills, English language proficiency, whether you are trying to, learn something new, right? For example, you want to understand visualization, design visualization, and creative thinking, right? It's just something that you find interesting. You want to understand the elements of interpersonal communication. Most of my students internationally are taking courses that will then be placed into their core curriculum when they go to college. So there are certain courses here that will be accepted to all sorts of degree programs, right? So most of them are taking things like that, but it actually doesn't take away because you do have the access to these classes due to these partnerships, right? So it doesn't take away from, hey, can I just learn something new, right? Can I just do some computer application? Can I learn about art in Asia? I mean, don't stop yourself short, because when you get to college, and even after you graduate from college, you're going to realize that college is kind of like a library, right? There's no way you can read all the books, right? But when you do get the chance and when you have the opportunity, when you have the time, and this is really the time of your life to make these choices, take some courses that you're just interested in, right? Today's world is not going to only want someone who has a computer science degree. They're going to want someone who have a computer science degree but also understand other aspects of life, right? So, don't just stick with, oh my God, I'm going to be a physicist and I'm just going to only take physics classes. Don't stick with that. Really utilize this time and utilize the fact that, take advantage of the fact that these courses are going to be a fraction of the cost, as a college course, for you to earn college credits. Have some fun with it, right? This other page, we have graphic communications, which is communications through design. Some of our popular courses on this page is sustainable cities. Sustainability is always a huge issue for college students. A lot of college courses and college degree programs now have sustainability built in so that the future generation like you will understand sustainability and build sustainable lives from the beginning, right? And so there's a lot of fun things that are in there too. Media and culture is a fun class, and it's very very popular. I actually have students in Japan taking criminology. So don't really block yourself from studying or learning something that you're interested in versus, oh my God, this is gonna, just be part of my curriculum for life, right? So, pick courses that you're interested in. We can definitely help you to place into those courses. And maybe that's something that you really love, right? Maybe that's your true passion. So don't stop yourself short there. The accelerate idea that I spoke about is that, we also have, if let's just say today, you already know you're going to be electrical engineering, right? And we can actually help you to build a package of courses that will allow you to take these courses in high school and that will earn you up to a whole semester of credits in college, right? So if you can see from this little diagram, you will be able to finish college in 3.5 years versus 4 years. And what this means is that you will be able to actually walk into that career pathway sooner, right? And it's a more efficient way. Before distant learning and before all these digital platforms, yes, like everybody have to do your duty of 4 years, right? Or if not longer. But now, I mean, you have access now. Why not start if you're ready, right? So I think that's again the concept of giving yourself that competitive edge, and exploring these courses so that you are able to actually say, oh, okay, I've taken this courses, I know this is what I want, and really show the college admissions officer that this is the pathway that you have chosen from the get-go, so that they will admit you. Some of these top colleges will be looking for students who have the capability, even through these rough times, who have the ability to take college courses and do well in them, right? So we want you to do well, and that's our first, kind of foremost goal. But we want to actually be able to say the credits that you earn actually is worth something, and it's worth the entire first semester, so that when you transfer, or actually you are not considered a transfer student, but when you are admitted to a college, they will actually place you into other courses so that you can advance a little bit faster. The program benefits is, this is really specific to the previous slide of the Accelerate program. You actually get VIP access to events and advisors. This is something that we built out so that this is not just about classes, right? This is actually about a college experience that we're able to present to you now. You will actually be guided through admissions process at ASU. So if you are wanting, or you are, thinking about ASU as a possible choice, we can actually guide you through that. So basically, once you sign on to any of these college courses, you become an ASU student. You actually have an ASU ID. Upon completion of the courses, you will actually have an ASU official transcript. So you're actually very much part of the ASU student community. And we actually have a lot of activities that's built around your academic experience to make sure that you are acclimating to the entire college experience at ASU. We have 2 accelerated tracks built in right now. We have one for engineering students, and these courses are handpicked by the deans to make sure that the students will be able to then transition into a degree program after these 5 courses. And we have a track for business. And these are also handpicked by the dean of the business school to make sure that you have the essentials and the foundation to get to a business degree program. And these are, again, they're picked by, Arizona State University. But once you take these courses, you can actually transfer these credits to other universities as well. We have some students who are taking our courses now. This is Remy, who is my student from Mexico, Sonora, Mexico, and he is actually one of our full-time students. This is an interview that the newspaper at ASU did with him, and this is what he's saying. And I think it's important. The takeaway is that, the you guys are at a different time, a different era, right? Of time. It's shifting dramatically. It's almost like shifting from, not being able to use computer all the way to, all of a sudden you have something called internet, right? It's a huge shift. And it's happening all within this 1 year, right? And everybody is experiencing this shift. So as a student, what can you do, because you're going to have to continue your study, right? What can you do to make sure that you are adapting to this shift by utilizing technology, right? You really, I think your parents and you guys have made the distinctive choice of going to gyms and going through these very rigorous program and fantastic schools, right? but also think about the other possibilities, meaning that, you know, what technology is so different today, right? So all of us should actually be learning differently than what we did when I was young, when I was in school, right? I took AP courses when I was in college, when I was in high school, and nothing much has changed, right? But, I have a young daughter, and I just know that she will not be sitting in the same classroom that I was before, because the world outside of us have changed, right? So being able to utilize technology and being able to actually have access and manage your own learning is huge for students. And what is key here, though, is that, you know, I'm servicing students in New York City, and I'm also having these students in Sonora having the exact same access to classes, the same classes, as a student sitting in a classroom in a New York prep school. And that is education. That is transformative, right? So I really want to invite you guys to think about this concept of, you are actually leveling out with all these students who are around the world taking these advanced courses, right? Which is very exciting, because technology is actually allowing us to do that right now. This is my student, Joyce, in Indonesia. She is going to a Catholic school, Regina Passes there. And, she is, at first, she's really reserved to online learning, and, not really sure exactly how she will cope with the new environment. But, a month later, she is flourishing. I mean, she is literally blossoming, because this actually helped her to understand a different culture a little bit better, right? And, she loved the group meetings. She loved the fact that the teachers will actually assign projects that are very different than, just quizzes and tests and answer these questions, right? Because the courseware, as you guys saw in that video, it's already built in. A lot of the interactive activities will capture your progress, so that you don't have to take a test to show that you actually understand things, right? So she is making, she's learning vocabularies by drawing pictures, right? She is making a lot of progress, and she's a completely different student than when I first met her. So this is very exciting, and I think you guys will have similar, if not better, experiences as students here. So, that's really the end of my presentation. I'm open for questions. I hope I have explained what we're here to do, and what this partnership is about. And I hope I have presented that access and opportunity is right in front of you right now, that you can take advantage of, that will really set you up for the future. So, we're open for questions. Whatever questions you have, I'm happy to answer. Anything is even if it's silly, you know, any question.
Yeah, I had a question.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'm an Indian student studying in the UAE, and I'm aspiring to go into the medicine field. Right now,
Yeah.
I actually don't know. I want to apply like to the USA, and I'm kind of confused on what exams like I should prepare for.
So are you currently a university student
No,
at
no, I'm
UA?
not.
You're a high school student, right?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, so in the US, there are two levels of actually, for undergraduate, there's really just one level, right? And it's called pre-med. Technically, you can actually, and this is just pre-med, meaning before medical school, right? And technically, what you do, most of the medical school students, what they will do for undergraduate degree, I can't name off all the majors, but so basically you cannot major in medicine until graduate school, right? So you will take the same exams like the SATs, the ACTs to get into schools. Although this year is going to be a little bit difficult. I'm not really sure if those tests are going to be available later this year. But, the majors that you will actually apply to would be, um, biology, uh, biochemistry, um, chemical engineering, um, mainly those majors. Does that make sense? So basically, those majors are going to prepare you for the MCAT, which is the graduate test to get you actually into medical school. So most of the medical school students actually don't start in undergraduate. They actually, some schools, like, a lot of the, I don't know if you're familiar with the term LAC. Those are liberal arts colleges. A lot of the liberal arts colleges tend to have pre-med major starting from day one because liberal arts college actually is built a little bit differently structure-wise so that students can actually get on that field faster, right? But you don't actually go to medical school per se until you are in graduate school. So, you will basically either choose a liberal arts college route where you do pre-med, or you can choose to do pre-med, but mostly biology, like choose a major that's close to the medical field, mostly in biology and biochemistry, molecular science type of areas. So you wouldn't take any test that is outside of the standardized testing, really. Um, but it's actually the degree program that you choose that will help you to get to a medical school, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so I would go by, I would look at, what school has the strongest biology majors. I will look at, biology is probably the most common for medical school students because your MCAT is a lot about, math and, obviously you have to take a lot of math classes too, but a lot more about biology. So, taking biology and more advanced biology, like a school like ASU will allow. I actually know one of my colleagues' daughter um, graduated from our honors college and went on to medical school just last year, and she was able to do. She studied biochemistry, and she was actually able to get into school as a biology major and kind of really learned the different classes and realized, oh, okay, I actually like biochemistry. So she actually went through biochemistry, and then she took the test and got into medical school. But the experience itself is very important because medical schools are also looking for students with a variety of experiences, right? So she actually joined the Doctor Without Border as an intern during the summertime and worked in Ecuador for a little bit. And she actually, joined a lot of the ASU programs because we work with hospitals. And, she watched surgeries. She did a lot of the studies outside of classrooms. So her experiences actually got her into a very good medical school with full scholarship. So it's a pretty good experience overall. So I think you just need to kind of, all of this is really about mapping, right? So if you map out what you want to do and kind of go backwards, first of all, it will be less stress, right? Because you're actually not walking to something that's completely uncertain to you, right? Secondly, is that you will find more choices. as you are defining what areas that you want to go into, because medicine is a huge area, right? You can be a surgeon, you can specialize because it's a very specialized field. You can specialize in heart, you can specialize in cardiovascular, you can specialize in ear, nose, and mouth, like, or throat, ENT. You can specialize in so many different fields. So it just really depends on what you want to do as a doctor, right? But I think biology major is a great start. Anything else?
So, so I'd need to take the pre-medical course first, right?
Yeah, I think it would be great if you take, for example, right? And I'm gonna sound like a salesperson. For example, if you were to take a biology course, right, from ASU, and just to see what biology courses look like in a college level, what other things that you can do with biology, or if you want to take an introductory to biochemistry, that's doable as well. It just really depends on what you want to explore. But having taken those courses will allow you to understand the expectations a little bit better, if that makes sense, so that you're not kind of walking in this blindly, right? And once you take a biology course, and most majors will allow you to take a lab course anyways. So once you take a biology course, maybe you will have a better direction of, and where do I go, right? What should I study? And what major should I actually apply into? And our biology course is super fun. Actually, most of that Smart Sparrow is based on the biology course. It's called Bio Beyond, and it's actually built by ASU faculty. Um, so I think you will have a ton of fun. And then, when you are applying to a biology degree, you will actually already have this course in the back pocket, um, which is great. So yes, I think, pre-med has a ton of biology courses. So I think pre-med is something that you will go into. But what I'm saying is that most schools in the US actually doesn't start pre-med until almost graduate school, or the third year of school. And I think you will have to take an entrance test at that point, mainly testing your biology, bioscience, natural sciences, and math skills. But you don't you can't go into pre-med as a freshman. It usually doesn't work unless you go through the liberal arts college route. I know this is a lot information, but I think this is recorded, so you can also go back a little bit later um, to
Yeah.
review. But yeah, I think if you already know you want to go into pre-med, I mean, why not check out liberal arts colleges? They're great schools, and you can get into pre-med right away, versus waiting for 2 years. And just to let you know, our credits also transfer into liberal arts colleges in the United States. So either way, taking a college course, even just during the summer or during the winter break, or during your breaks, will be beneficial, especially if you're going to medical. Anyone else have a question? That was a great question, by the way. And you can ask anything. I mean, it doesn't have to be related to ASU or anything. Um,
Hello.
yeah.
Okay, you can hear me. All right. This okay. This the credits we earn from this can only be transferred to universities within the U.S., not outside, right?
Well, actually, that's a great question. We're actually working to build articulation agreements, and what that is almost like building a bridge between these courses and schools outside of the US. So depending on, I was checking into schools, universities um, in Dubai and other areas in the Middle East. There are actually, most universities actually do accept transfers. I don't know if you're aware of that. It really, we always say that the transferability depends on the discretion of the university, the receiving university, meaning that if you apply, let's say, to a university in your home country or in a university in the UK, let's just say, right? Um, it really, how many credits, I know that it's transferable, that's number one, but how many credits you can actually transfer in, it's the discretion of the receiving university. However, what we're trying to build out is to actually showcase what the classes are so that the receiving university will say, oh, okay, this is actually very similar to our course, right? So that we can actually map out what can be transferred for you. So if you have a specific university, let's just say you say, hey, Angela, I really want to take this communications course, right? But I don't want to go to ASU. I actually want to go to a university in Africa, right? If you have a specific university, I'm happy to do the research to see if the credit that you're looking for can be transferred, so that it takes away, the stress from your side. Um, so we can definitely do that. Most of the credits can be transferred. It's just how many. And, credit structures are a little bit different, right? As you know, in the US curriculum, we structure credits as, 3 credits per course in college, right? But many colleges don't really have, in China, for example, they have 4 credits per course. So how does that count, right? Well, you don't have to worry about any of that. We will actually help you to figure out whether those credits can be transferred into the school of your dreams. So the short answer is yes, you're able to take those credits, official credit, and transfer into whatever university. But the longer answer is, we're going to have to help you to figure out, based on your university of choice, help you to figure out how many credits you can actually transfer.
I see.
Yep, but it's not a hard no, so that's good. That was a great question too. And we're definitely working on the credit transfer process, and also just, to make sure and coming up with a list of schools outside of the US that we're able to transfer the credits to. So we're working on it. But if you already have a school that you want to check into, we're happy to do that for you as well. And you can just email me. I realized I probably didn't put my email anywhere in the so I'm gonna put that in the chat box right now. And you can also email me with just questions. So prior to working for ASU Prep Digital, I actually worked for Arizona State University, and I actually worked, before I worked for Arizona State University, I actually worked with over 300 universities worldwide, working with students, admitting students for them. So I'm familiar with the structures outside of the US as well, even though that my, academic experience is here in the US, but I'm also familiar with many other things. So if you just have any questions about going to college or whatever, you can always, I'm happy to answer any of your questions. And Lena, I know we have 3 minutes left. If there's anything else that you think I missed or maybe I should address, please let me know.